The small science vessel floated quietly through the darkness of space. Its name was the Explorer, painted in white letters on its gray hull. The ship was not big. It was not fancy. It looked old and simple, like a box with engines attached to it. Inside the ship, Dr. Elena Martinez sat at her station, looking at data on her screen. She was a scientist, not a soldier. Her job was to study stars and planets, not to fight battles. Around her, 8 other scientists worked quietly at their computers. "Captain," said Officer Tom Reed, "the star measurements are complete. This system has 5 planets, 2 of them might support life." Elena smiled. "Excellent work, Tom. Let's move closer to the 3rd planet and—" Suddenly, loud alarms filled the ship. Red lights flashed on every wall. Beep, 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 beep. "What's happening?" Elena stood up quickly. Tom's face went white as he stared at his scanner screen. "Captain. Ships. Multiple ships appearing all around us." On the main viewing screen, the image of peaceful space changed. Dark shapes began appearing from nowhere. 1 ship. Then 5. Then 20. Then 50. Then 70. Massive alien warships surrounded the Explorer from every direction. They were 3 times bigger than the human science ship. Their hulls were dark red metal covered with weapon turrets and scorch marks from old battles. Green lights glowed along their sides like evil eyes. "Carwell Empire ships," whispered Sarah Kim, the youngest scientist on the crew. Her hands shook. "We're in Carwell territory." "I thought this sector was unclaimed space," Elena said, trying to stay calm even though her heart was racing. "So did I, Captain," Tom replied. "Our maps must be wrong." The 70 Carwell warships formed a perfect circle around the Explorer. Their weapons slowly turned to point at the small human ship. It looked like a pack of wolves surrounding a rabbit. "They're hailing us," said Communications Officer Maya Patel. "Should I answer?" Elena took a deep breath. "Yes. Put them on screen." The viewing screen changed. A face appeared that made everyone on the bridge gasp. The alien was terrifying. His skin was deep red like blood. He had no nose, just 2 slits where a nose should be. His eyes were bright yellow with black vertical pupils, like a snake's eyes. When he smiled, he showed rows of sharp white teeth. This was General Kravik, commander of the KRYL military fleet. Well, Kravik said, his voice deep and rough. "What do we have here?" "A human ship. A small, weak, pathetic human ship." Behind him, other KRYL soldiers laughed. The sound was cruel and mocking. "General Kravik," Elena said, keeping her voice steady. "I am Dr. Elena Martinez, captain of the science vessel Explorer. We are not military. We are scientists studying this star system. We didn't know this sector was claimed by the KRYL Empire." Kravik's smile grew wider, showing more teeth. "Didn't know? How sad for you. This sector has belonged to the KRYL for 2 years. You humans and your outdated maps." "We apologize for the intrusion," Elena said quickly. "We will leave immediately. We mean no harm or disrespect." "Leave?" Kravik laughed loudly. "Oh, you misunderstand, human. You're not leaving. Look around you. 70 of my finest warships. You have what? 1 little science boat." He leaned closer to the camera, his yellow eyes glowing with cruel amusement. "You humans are so foolish. So weak. You travel in unarmed ships. You smile and talk about peace. You study stars instead of building weapons. You are like children playing in a galaxy full of predators." Elena's crew looked at her with fear in their eyes. Some were trembling. Tom gripped his chair so tightly his knuckles turned white. Sarah had tears running down her face but tried to stay quiet. But Elena just looked at Kravik calmly. Too calmly. "General," she said, "what do you want from us?" "What?" Kravik laughed again. "Your ship is now property of the KRYL Empire. Your equipment, your data, your supplies, all ours. And you and your crew? You are now prisoners. You will work for us or you will die. Simple choice." "I see," Elena said softly. Then something strange happened. A small smile appeared on her face. Kravik noticed it. His laughter stopped. His eyes narrowed with suspicion. "Why are you smiling, human? Do you think this is funny? Do you think you can escape? There are 70 warships surrounding you." "I know, General," Elena replied. "I can count. But before you do something you will deeply regret, I need to ask you one question." Kravik's face showed confusion mixed with anger. "What question?" Elena's smile grew a little bigger. Her voice was still calm, but now there was something else in it. Something that made even Kravik feel slightly uncomfortable. "Do you know what humans do when one of us is threatened?" Kravik snorted. "You beg for mercy?" You cry? You surrender like the weak creatures you are? Elena shook her head slowly, like a teacher correcting a student who gave a wrong answer. No, General. We call our family. Before Kravik could respond, Elena nodded at Tom. Tom's fingers moved quickly across his control panel. A single bright signal shot out from the Explorer, traveling faster than light into deep space. On his command screen, Kravik saw the signal leave. His eyes went wide for a moment, then he started laughing again, but this time the laugh sounded forced. A distress call? How pathetic. Do you think someone will rescue you? Even at light speed, the nearest human station is 3 days away. You'll be prisoners long before anyone arrives. That wasn't a distress call, General, Elena said quietly. Kravik's laughter died. Then what was it? Elena leaned back in her captain's chair. Her whole crew was looking at her now, confused but hopeful. She looked completely relaxed, like someone who knew a secret that would change everything. That was a cancellation order, she said. Cancellation? Kravik's confusion grew. What are you canceling, human? Elena's eyes locked onto Kravik's yellow snake eyes. When she spoke, her voice was soft but each word felt heavy. I'm canceling the order that's been keeping you safe, General. Kravik stared at her. For the first time, doubt crossed his face. Safe? What do you mean? There's nothing out here. My scanners show only empty space. Exactly, Elena said. Your scanners show empty space. That's the point. She looked at her science officer. Tom, they're waiting for permission. Give it to them. Tom pressed another button. Signal sent, Captain. Kravik checked his scanner display again. Empty space. Nothing but his 70 ships and the human science vessel. He turned back to the screen, angry now. You're playing games, human. There's nothing out there. You're trying to scare me with empty threats. Elena stood up from her chair. She walked slowly to the main screen until her face was close to Kravik's image. General Kravik, let me tell you something. 3 months ago, a human colony was attacked. 20 families died. Men, women, children. After that day, the human government made a decision. We decided that no human ship would ever travel unprotected again. So what? Kravik growled. You humans are traitors and scientists. Everyone knows you have almost no military. You're known across the galaxy as the peaceful species. Elena's smile became something different now. Something that made Kravik's blood run cold. That's exactly what we wanted. Everyone to think, she said softly. Suddenly, every alarm on every KRLL warship began screaming at once. 70 ships, hundreds of alarms, all at the same time. On Kravik's bridge, his officers jumped from their seats. General. Contacts. Multiple contacts. What? Kravik spun to his scanner officer. How many? I don't know, sir. The scanners are going crazy. Ships are appearing everywhere. That's impossible. There was nothing there a second ago. On the Explorer's bridge, Elena counted down calmly. 3, 2, 1. Space around the KRLL fleet began to glow. The darkness seemed to crack like breaking glass. Light poured through the cracks. And then they appeared. Warships. Massive human warships. They materialized from nothing, like ghosts becoming solid. One appeared. Then 10. Then 50. Then 100. Then 200. Then 300. 300 human warships surrounded the 70 KRLL vessels. They had been there the whole time, completely invisible, watching and waiting. Kravik's mouth fell open. His yellow eyes were huge with shock and terror. Around him, his officers stood frozen, unable to believe what they were seeing. The KRYLL circle that had surrounded the Explorer was now inside a much, much bigger human circle. The hunters had become the hunted. Elena's voice came through every speaker on every KRL ship, calm and clear. You asked me what humans do when threatened, General. Now you know. We don't beg. We don't cry. We don't run. She paused, letting her words sink in. We prepare. We plan. And we make sure that anyone who threatens us learns a lesson they'll never forget. Kravik tried to speak but no words came out. He just stared at the 300 warships surrounding his fleet. Elena's final words before the screen went dark were quiet but terrifying. Welcome to the lesson, General. Class is about to begin. 3 months earlier the story was very different. On the dark side of Earth's moon, hidden from all eyes, there was a secret military base. It was built deep inside the lunar rock with only a few small openings to the surface. No civilian knew it existed. Even most government officials didn't know about it. Inside a large briefing room, 20 people sat around a black table. They were Earth's top military leaders, scientists, and government officials. The room was cold and quiet. Everyone looked serious and tired. At the head of the table stood Fleet Admiral Richard Jackson. He was 60 years old with gray hair cut short and sharp blue eyes. Scars marked his face from wars fought decades ago. When he spoke, his voice was heavy with anger and sadness. 3 days ago, Admiral Jackson began, Colony 7 was attacked. Pirates came in the night. They killed 20 families. 8 of them were children. He pressed a button. The wall screen showed pictures of the victims. Happy families and photographs. Smiling children. Now all dead. The room was silent. Some people looked down, unable to watch. Others stared at the pictures with tears in their eyes. This is the 5th attack on human civilians in 6 months, Admiral Jackson continued. The galaxy sees us as easy targets. They think because we prefer peace we are weak. They think because we smile and trade we cannot fight. They're wrong, said a voice from the table. Everyone turned. The speaker was Dr. Sarah Chin, Earth's top scientist. She was young, only 35, with black hair and intelligent eyes behind glasses. Admiral, Dr. Chin said, standing up. Project Phantom is ready. It has been ready for 3 months. We've been waiting for your approval to deploy it. Admiral Jackson nodded. Show them. Dr. Chin walked to the wall screen and activated it. The images of victims disappeared. New images appeared, technical drawings of a spaceship. But this ship looked different from normal human vessels. This is the Phantom-class warship, Dr. Chin explained. For 2 years, my team has been developing stealth technology. These ships can become completely invisible to every known scanner type in the galaxy. A general at the table, General Martinez, raised his hand. Invisible? That's impossible. We've tried stealth technology before. It never worked perfectly. You're right, Dr. Chin agreed. Old stealth technology could hide from some scanners but not all. But we made a breakthrough 18 months ago. We discovered how to bend energy and light around a ship perfectly. She pressed another button. A video played showing a warship in space. Then suddenly the ship vanished. The space where it had been looked completely empty. To any scanner, radar, heat sensors, energy detectors, even visual observation, there is nothing there. The ship doesn't just hide. It becomes invisible to everything. The room filled with whispers. People leaned forward, excited and amazed. How many have we built? Admiral Jackson asked. 300 warships, Dr. Chin answered. We built them in secret asteroid facilities far from Earth. Each one is fully armed. Each one is faster than any known alien warship. And each one can stay invisible for months at a time. General Martinez stood up. 300 warships? Where did we get the resources? The money? How did we hide this from everyone? The colony defense budget, answered Minister Thompson, a government official. For 3 years we told the public we were building defense stations. We were actually building the Phantom fleet. Admiral Jackson turned to face everyone at the table. The question now is, how do we use them? We can't just announce we have a secret fleet. That would make us look like liars and create panic. We also can't let another Colony 7 happen, said General Martinez firmly. We can't let our people keep dying while we wait for the perfect political moment. Dr. Chin spoke up again. I have a suggestion, Admiral. We use them as silent protectors. Every human civilian ship that travels through dangerous space gets a Phantom escort. Invisible. Unknown. Just watching. And if someone attacks? Admiral Jackson asked. Then the attackers learn a lesson they'll never forget, Dr. Chin said coldly. Admiral Jackson thought for a long moment. Everyone waited. Finally he nodded. Approved. Operation Silent Guardian begins immediately. Every human civilian ship in dangerous sectors gets a Phantom fleet escort. Minimum of 3 warships per civilian vessel. More if the danger is higher. He looked around the table, making eye contact with each person. But understand this, when the galaxy finally sees these ships, everything changes. Some species will fear us. Some will respect us. Some will hate us. Are we ready for that? Admiral, Minister Thompson said, we're already hated by pirates and aggressors. I'd rather be feared by criminals and respected by allies than be seen as helpless victims. Everyone at the table nodded in agreement. Then it's decided, Admiral Jackson said. Deploy the Phantom fleet. 2 weeks later. Dr. Elena Martinez walked into Admiral Jackson's office. She was not related to General Martinez, but they shared the same last name by coincidence. Elena was a scientist who specialized in xenobiology, the study of alien life. You wanted to see me, Admiral? Elena asked. Admiral Jackson looked up from his desk. Dr. Martinez, I have a special mission for you. But I need to be honest, it's dangerous. Very dangerous. You can say no. Elena sat down. Tell me about it. The KRLL Empire has been getting aggressive near Sector 9. They've been watching our ships, following them, scanning them. We think they're planning to attack soon. And you want to give them a target? Elena guessed. Admiral Jackson nodded. Exactly. You're smart. That's why I chose you. He pulled up a star map on his desk screen. Take your science ship, the Explorer, into Sector 9. Do real research. Act completely normal. Study the stars, collect data, do everything a real science mission would do. And when the KRYL attack? The Phantom Fleet will be following you the entire time. Invisible. 300 ships. The KRYL won't see them until it's too late. Elena was quiet for a moment. You're using me as bait. Yes, Admiral Jackson admitted. I won't lie to you. The KRYL will threaten you. They might even try to capture you. But I promise, we won't let them hurt you. The moment they make their move, we respond. Why me? Elena asked. Why not use a military crew who's trained for combat? Because the KRYL are watching our military ships closely. They'd be suspicious. But a science vessel with civilian scientists? That looks like an easy target. That's what we need them to think. Elena thought about Colony 7. About the 20 dead families. About the children who would never grow up. I'll do it, she said firmly. But I choose my crew. People I trust. People who volunteer knowing the full truth. Agreed, Admiral Jackson said. You leave in 1 week. 1 week later, deep space. The Explorer left Earth's orbit with a crew of 9. 8 scientists and Elena as captain. Behind them, completely invisible, 300 Phantom-class warships followed at a distance. Inside the lead Phantom ship, Commander Sarah Blake sat in the captain's chair. She was 40 years old, a veteran of 20 space battles. Around her, the bridge crew worked silently and efficiently. Distance to Explorer? Commander Blake asked. 2,000 kilometers, ma'am, her navigation officer replied. We're maintaining perfect formation. All 300 ships invisible and tracking. Good. Remember people, we watch but don't act unless they're threatened. Dr. Martinez and her crew are doing real science. We're just making sure nobody bothers them. And if someone does bother them? Asked Lieutenant Kim, the weapons officer. Commander Blake's expression became cold and hard. Then we teach the galaxy a new rule, don't touch human civilians. 3 months of watching. For 3 months the Explorer traveled through Sector 9. Elena and her crew studied stars, analyzed planets, collected samples. It was real scientific work. Important work. And for 3 months the Phantom Fleet followed them everywhere. Invisible ghosts protecting their charge. They watched KRYL scout ships observe the Explorer from a distance. They watched the KRYL get bolder, coming closer. They watched as more and more KRYL ships started appearing in the sector. They're planning something, Commander Blake said one day. Look at the pattern. The KRYL are positioning ships in a circle around Dr. Martinez's projected course. An ambush, Lieutenant Kim confirmed. They're going to surround her. Good, Commander Blake said with a cold smile. Let them. When they spring their trap, we spring ours. On the Explorer, Elena also noticed the KRYL activity. She wasn't a soldier, but she was smart enough to recognize a predator circling its prey. Tom, she said to her officer one evening, increase the signal strength on our research broadcasts. Make sure the KRYL know exactly where we are. Captain? Tom looked confused. Shouldn't we try to hide? Elena shook her head. We're the bait, Tom. Bait needs to be visible. The KRYL need to think we're an easy target. That's the whole point. Tom understood then. His face went pale but he nodded. Yes, Captain. Making ourselves more visible. Don't worry, Elena said quietly. We're not alone. We've never been alone. And the KRYL are about to learn that in the most shocking way possible. The day of the ambush. It was a normal day on the Explorer. Elena and her crew were studying an interesting star system. Sarah Kim was excited about some unusual radiation readings. Tom was mapping the planets. Everyone was focused on their work. And then the alarm started. 70 KRYL warships appeared from hyperspace, surrounding them perfectly. On the Phantom Fleet flagship, Commander Blake smiled. Finally, she said. All ships, battle stations. Maintain invisibility. Wait for Dr. Martinez's signal. She opened a private channel to Elena. Doctor, we're ready? Just say the word. On the Explorer's bridge, facing General Krovik's cruel smile, Elena stayed calm. She knew 300 warships surrounded her, invisible, waiting. She just needed the right moment to reveal them. And when Kravik said humans were weak, when he threatened to take her crew prisoner, when he laughed at humanity's supposed helplessness, that was the perfect moment. Elena sent the signal. The Phantom Fleet prepared to reveal itself. The trap was about to close. And General Kravik had no idea his hunters were already the hunted. Space around the KRLL fleet began to change. At first it was just small flickers of light like stars twinkling. Then the flickers grew brighter. The darkness seemed to crack open like breaking glass. General Kravik stared at his scanner screen. Numbers were climbing rapidly. 5 contacts. 10 contacts. 20. 50. 100. The numbers kept rising. What's happening? Kravik shouted at his scanner officer. Sir, I don't understand. Ships are appearing from nowhere. Our scanners showed nothing a minute ago. How many ships? Kravik demanded. The scanner officer's voice shook. Sir, 300. 300 human warships. The color drained from Kravik's red face. His yellow eyes went wide. That's impossible. But it wasn't impossible. It was happening right in front of him. One by one, 300 massive warships materialized in space. They appeared like ghosts becoming solid. Each ship was twice the size of a KRYLL warship. Their hulls were dark blue and silver, gleaming with advanced technology. Weapon ports lined their sides. Engine cores glowed with bright blue energy. The Phantom Fleet had revealed itself. The 70 KRYLL ships that surrounded the Explorer now found themselves surrounded by 300 human warships. The circle within a circle. The trap within a trap. On every KRYLL bridge, alarms screamed. Officers shouted in panic. Captains grabbed their chairs as if the ships were shaking even though they weren't. We're surrounded. Where did they come from? Our scanners never detected them. How is this possible? General Kravik's second-in-command, Subgeneral Vrex, stood frozen at his station. General, we're outnumbered more than 4 to 1. Kravik's mind raced. 4 to 1. And these were warships, not science vessels. Real military ships with weapons and shields he could see even from this distance. All ships, battle formation. Kravik ordered, trying to sound confident. Prepare weapons. Show these humans we are not afraid. The KRYLL ships moved into defensive positions. Their weapons powered up, glowing green with deadly energy. But everyone on those bridges knew the truth. They were in serious trouble. On the Explorer, Dr. Elena Martinez sat calmly in her captain's chair. Her crew, who had been terrified moments ago, now looked relieved. Some were smiling. Tom even laughed quietly. Captain, Tom said, should I send the message to Admiral Jackson? Yes, Elena replied. Tell him the KRYLL took the bait. Phase 2 is complete. Suddenly, all the screens on all the KRYLL ships changed. General Kravik's threatening face disappeared, replaced by a new face that made every KRYLL warrior feel cold fear. Fleet Admiral Richard Jackson appeared. His gray hair was cut military short. His blue eyes were hard as ice. Behind him, dozens of human officers worked at control stations. This was clearly a military command center, professional and organized. I am Fleet Admiral Richard Jackson of the Human Defense Fleet. His voice boomed through every KRLL speaker. General Kravik, you have made a serious mistake today. Kravik tried to respond, but his throat was dry. He swallowed hard. This is a trick. These are holograms. Fake images to scare us. Admiral Jackson's expression didn't change. Commander Blake, fire a warning shot. Target coordinates Alpha 79er. That's the empty space 3 kilometers from General Kravik's flagship. On one of the human warships, Commander Sarah Blake smiled. Yes, sir. Firing now. One of the Phantom warships powered up its main weapon. A massive energy cannon glowed brighter and brighter with blue light. Then it fired. Boom. The energy beam shot across space like lightning. It was so bright that it lit up the entire area. The beam passed exactly 3 kilometers from Kravik's flagship. Close enough to feel its heat, but not close enough to cause damage. The beam continued for 5 seconds before the weapon powered down. Where the beam had traveled, space itself seemed to glow for a moment. The energy was so powerful. Every KRYLL ship detected the energy signature. The readings were terrifying. That one shot had more power than anything in the KRYLL arsenal. Still think we're holograms, General? Admiral Jackson asked calmly. Kravik said nothing. His hands gripped his command chair so tightly his claws dug into the metal. Admiral Jackson continued, his voice cold and factual. 3 months ago, your empire and others began attacking human civilian vessels. You thought we were weak because we prefer peace. You thought we were defenseless because we focus on science and trade. He leaned forward toward the camera. You thought wrong. Behind Admiral Jackson, the screen split to show different images. Construction facilities inside asteroids. Scientists working on advanced technology. Rows and rows of phantom warships being built in secret. For 2 years, Admiral Jackson explained, while the galaxy watched us build defense stations, we were actually building something else. The Phantom Fleet. 300 warships with technology you've never seen before. Stealth technology, General Vrex whispered on Kravik's bridge. They can turn invisible. Exactly, Admiral Jackson said as if he had heard Vrex's whisper. These ships followed Dr. Martinez for 3 months. They were right beside you the entire time. You never knew. Your scanners never detected them. They can hide in plain sight. He paused, letting that information sink into every KRYL mind. You surrounded one human science vessel with 70 warships. You thought you had one. But you were already surrounded by 300 of our warships. The trap was never yours, General Kravik. It was always ours. On the Explorer's bridge, Elena spoke up. Her face appeared in a smaller window beside Admiral Jackson. General Kravik, you asked me what humans do when threatened. Now you know the answer. We don't panic. We don't beg. We prepare. We plan. And we make sure that anyone who attacks us faces consequences they never imagined. Kravik finally found his voice. You tricked us. This was a trap from the beginning. Yes, Elena admitted simply. You were watching my ship for 3 months, planning your ambush. We knew it. We wanted you to attack. We wanted to send a message to your empire and every other species that thinks humans are easy prey. What message? Kravik asked, though he already knew the answer. Admiral Jackson's voice became harder, colder. The message is simple. We are peaceful by choice, not because we lack the ability to fight. We smile because we want it, not because we're afraid. And we will protect our people with whatever force is necessary. He stood up from his command chair. You have 2 options, General Kravik. Only 2. Choose carefully because your life and the lives of 3,000 KRYL warriors depend on your choice. The KRYL fleet waited in silence. Every captain, every officer, every crew member listened. Option 1, Admiral Jackson said, raising one finger. Surrender immediately. Power down all your weapons. Remain in position. And you might live to see your families again. He raised a second finger. Option 2, fight. Try to break through our formation. Fire your weapons. And I personally promise you, not one KRYL ship will survive the next 10 minutes. We will destroy every single vessel, and your empire will receive 70 empty escape pods and a recording of what happened here. The silence was heavy and terrible. Kravik looked at his tactical display. 70 KRYL ships surrounded by 300 human ships. The humans had better positions. Probably better weapons based on that warning shot. Definitely better technology if they could hide from scanners. Sir, his weapons officer said quietly, our combat computer calculated the odds. If we fight, we have a 3% chance of survival. And that's only if we run away immediately and leave some ships behind to slow them down. 3%? Kravik repeated numbly. Subgeneral Vrex leaned close and whispered, General, we have to surrender. We cannot win this fight. All we can do is die with pride or live with shame. I'd rather live. But Kravik's pride was strong. He was a KRYL warrior. His species had conquered 20 star systems. They had never surrendered to anyone. The KRYL Empire does not surrender, he said, though his voice lacked confidence. On the human flagship, Commander Blake checked her tactical display. Admiral, the KRYL haven't powered down their weapons. They're still in attack formation. I see that, Admiral Jackson said. General Kravik, I'm giving you 60 seconds to make your choice. After that, I will make it for you. The seconds ticked by. 50 seconds. 40 seconds. 30 seconds. On Kravik's bridge, his officers looked at him with fear in their eyes. Some were young, barely trained warriors on their first mission. Others were veterans who had families waiting at home. 20 seconds. Kravik thought about his mate, Shara. His 3 children. His youngest daughter was only 5 years old. She liked to climb on his back and pretend he was a riding beast. She called him Papa in her small voice. 10 seconds. Would he ever see her again? Or would she grow up knowing her father died because he was too proud to surrender? 5 seconds. General, please? Vrex begged. 3 seconds. Kravik looked at his crew. At the young warriors. At the veterans. At good KRYL people who trusted him to lead them. 1 second. All ships, Kravik said, his voice breaking, power down weapons. His weapons officer didn't move, shocked by the order. Now, Kravik shouted. Power down all weapons. That's a direct order. Slowly, reluctantly, the KRYL fleet began shutting down their weapons. The green glow faded from their hulls. Targeting systems went offline. Missile tubes closed. On the human flagship, Commander Blake reported, Admiral, all KRYL vessels are powering down. They're surrendering. Admiral Jackson nodded. Good. They made the smart choice. All ships maintain battle stations. Watch them carefully. If even one KRYL ship tries anything, destroy it immediately. Yes, sir, Blake acknowledged. Admiral Jackson's face reappeared on all the KRYL screens. General Kravik, you chose wisely. Your warriors will live because of your decision. But understand this, you are now prisoners of the Human Defense Fleet. You will follow our instructions exactly. Any ship that disobeys will be destroyed without warning. Do you understand? Kravik's head dropped. His shoulders sagged. I understand. Good. Power down your shields as well. We will be boarding your vessels to ensure you have no hidden weapons or plans. Kravik wanted to refuse, but what choice did he have? Yes, Admiral. As the KRYL shields powered down, Elena spoke one more time from the Explorer. General Kravik, you called humans weak. You called us foolish. You laughed at us. Kravik looked up at her face on his screen. I want you to remember this moment, Elena said quietly. Remember that the weak humans surrounded your entire fleet. Remember that the foolish scientists were bait in a trap you never saw. Remember that the species you mocked is the one showing you mercy right now. She paused. We could destroy you. Easily. But we won't. Do you know why? Kravik shook his head slowly. Because we're not like you, Elena said. We don't kill for pride. We don't destroy for pleasure. We protect our people, yes. We respond to threats, yes. But we don't massacre defeated enemies. Admiral Jackson added, You will go home, General Kravik. You will tell your empire exactly what happened here. You will show them the recordings. And you will deliver a message. What message? Kravik whispered. Tell them that humanity is no longer prey. Tell them that we've been watching, preparing, and building while they've been laughing at us. Tell them that the next species to attack human civilians will face the full force of the Phantom Fleet. Admiral Jackson's eyes became like ice. And tell them that if the KRYL Empire ever attacks another human ship, we won't stop at 300 warships. We'll bring everything we have to your home world, and we'll show you what happens when you make humans truly angry. The threat hung in the air like a dark storm cloud. Now, Admiral Jackson said, his tone becoming businesslike, all KRYL ships will remain in position. Human boarding teams will inspect your vessels. Any attempt to resist will result in immediate destruction. This is not a negotiation. This is what happens next. Kravik nodded weakly. He had no fight left in him. His pride was shattered. His confidence was gone. All that remained was the hope that he and his warriors would survive to see home again. And the terrible knowledge that he had learned the hardest lesson of his life. Never underestimate humanity. 2 hours passed after the KRYL surrender. Human boarding teams moved between the alien ships, checking for hidden weapons or tricks. The KRYL warriors stood silently, watching the humans work with professional efficiency. General Kravik sat in his command chair, staring at nothing. He felt empty inside. His pride, his confidence, everything that made him a KRYL warrior, all gone. Replaced by shame and fear. Subgeneral Vrex approached him quietly. General, the humans have finished inspecting our ships. They found no hidden weapons. They're allowing us to keep basic systems online for life support and engines. How generous, Kravik said bitterly. General, we're alive. Our warriors are alive. That's more than we deserved after trying to capture their people. Kravik knew Vrex was right, but it didn't make him feel better. On the human flagship, Admiral Jackson sat in his command center reviewing reports. Commander Blake stood beside him. Admiral, all 70 KRYL ships have been inspected and cleared. They're powerless to attack. What are your orders? Admiral Jackson thought for a moment. We'll escort them to the edge of this sector. Make sure they leave human space. Then we let them go home. Let them go. Blake looked surprised. Sir, these are the same KRYL who've been harassing our shipping lanes for months. If we let them go, they might attack again. They won't, Admiral Jackson said confidently. They've learned their lesson. Sometimes the best way to stop an enemy is to show them they can't win, then show them mercy. Fear and respect together are more powerful than fear alone. Blake nodded slowly, understanding. Yes, sir. I'll prepare the escort formation. But then, something happened that no one expected. On one of the KRYL warships, the vessel commanded by Captain Zex, something went wrong. Captain Zex was different from Kravik. He was younger, more aggressive, and much more prideful. Being defeated and boarded by humans had driven him nearly insane with rage. I will not accept this shame, Zex growled to his crew. We are KRYL warriors. We do not surrender. We do not bow to humans. His first officer, a cautious KRYL named Mox, stepped forward. Captain, we have no choice. Our weapons are offline. We're surrounded. Fighting now is suicide. Then we die as warriors. Zex shouted. Better to die fighting than live in shame. He pushed Mox aside and ran to the weapons console. His claws moved quickly across the controls, bypassing the shutdown protocols. It took him 3 minutes, but he managed to bring the weapon systems back online. Alarms immediately blared on every human ship. Admiral. Commander Blake's voice was urgent. One of the KRYL vessels just powered up its weapons. It's targeting our medical ship. Admiral Jackson's expression hardened. Which vessel? Ship designation KRYL 7. Captain Zex commanding. Order him to power down immediately. Blake opened a channel. KRYL Vessel 7, this is the Human Defense Fleet. Power down your weapons immediately. This is your only warning. On Zex's bridge, the communication came through. Zex laughed, a wild, desperate sound. No. I will not obey humans. We are KRYL. We fear nothing. He aimed his weapons at the nearest human vessel, a medical ship marked with clear medical symbols. It was unarmed, designed only for healing and rescue. Zex, don't. Captain Mox begged. That's a medical ship. It has doctors and nurses. It's not even armed. I don't care. Zex screamed. Fire. The KRYL ship launched 6 missiles directly at the human medical vessel. On the human medical ship Hope, alarms shrieked. The crew scrambled. Incoming missiles, the pilot shouted. 6 missiles, impact in 10 seconds. The medical crew braced for death. Some closed their eyes. Others whispered prayers. But death didn't come. 3 human warships moved between the missiles and the medical ship. Their shields activated, glowing bright blue. The 6 missiles hit the shields and exploded harmlessly. Fire and smoke filled space, but when it cleared, the medical ship was untouched. The 3 warships had taken the hits without even a scratch. On the human flagship, Admiral Jackson's face became cold as ice. His voice was quiet, which somehow made it more terrifying. Commander Blake, that KRYL captain just attacked a medical vessel. A clearly marked medical vessel with no weapons. Yes, sir, Blake confirmed. Target KRYL Vessel 7. Railgun. Full power. Center mass. Blake hesitated for just a second. Sir, if we hit them with the railgun at full power, there won't be any survivors. Admiral Jackson looked at her with hard eyes. That captain made his choice when he fired on a medical ship. He broke the rules of war. He attacked healers. Execute the order. Yes, sir. Blake turned to the weapons officer. You heard the Admiral. Railgun full power. Target KRYL Vessel 7. The human flagship's main weapon began to charge. It was a railgun, a weapon that used electromagnetic force to fire a solid metal slug at incredible speed. This particular railgun could fire a slug at nearly 20% of light speed. The weapon's charging sound grew louder and louder. A deep humming that everyone could feel in their bones. On Zex's ship, his crew frantically tried to escape. Captain, we need to evacuate. Mox shouted. They're going to destroy us. Let them try. Zex yelled back, but his voice shook with fear now. His pride had led him here, and now he realized his terrible mistake. The railgun finished charging. Commander Blake gave the order. Fire. Boom. The railgun fired. A solid slug of dense metal shot across space faster than thought. One moment it left the human ship. The next moment, it hit Zex's vessel. The impact was catastrophic. The slug punched through the KRYL ship's hull like it was paper. It went through the front, through the middle, through the back, and out the other side. The kinetic energy was so massive that the ship simply tore itself apart. Explosions rippled along the hull. The ship broke into 3 large pieces and hundreds of smaller ones. Fire bloomed in space. Systems exploded. And every KRYL warrior aboard died instantly. There was no time to escape. No time to scream. Just instant death. The entire KRYL fleet watched in horror. Captain Zex's ship had been there 1 second. The next second it was debris. General Kravik felt sick. Zex had been a fool, but he was still a KRYL warrior. And now he and his entire crew, over 100 warriors, were dead. On the human flagship, Admiral Jackson's expression didn't change. All other KRYL vessels, this is your final warning. The next ship that powers up weapons will receive the same treatment. We showed you mercy. That captain rejected it and attacked a medical vessel. He paid the price. Silence filled the KRYL fleet. No one dared move. No one dared breathe too loudly. But not all KRYL captains were as patient as Kravik or as foolish as Zex. Captain Vrak commanded one of the larger KRYL warships. He was known for his aggression and his hatred of other species. Watching his fellow KRYL destroyed by humans filled him with rage. We cannot let this stand, Vrak growled to his crew. They destroyed Zex's ship. They've humiliated our entire fleet. If we return home like this, we will be laughingstocks. His first officer warned, Captain, we saw what their weapons can do. One shot destroyed a battle cruiser. We cannot win. Maybe we can't win, Vrak admitted. But we can hurt them. We can make them pay a price for their victory. He looked at his tactical display. There. The human science vessel. The one that started all this. The Explorer. It has no weapons. No shields. Just scientists. His crew understood what he was thinking. Revenge. If they couldn't defeat the human warships, they could at least kill the humans who had trapped them. Captain, that's murder, his first officer protested. Those are civilians. Scientists. They used those scientists as bait. Vrak shouted. They're soldiers just like us. And we're going to destroy them before the humans stop us. Before anyone could argue further, Vrak's hands flew across his weapons console. His ship still had one working weapon system, a plasma cannon that the human inspectors had missed because it was hidden behind a false panel. The plasma cannon charged. It aimed directly at the Explorer, which floated peacefully 3 kilometers away. On the Explorer, Dr. Elena Martinez was reviewing scientific data when her officer Tom suddenly shouted, Captain, weapons lock. One of the KRYL ships is targeting us. Elena's eyes went wide. Shields? We don't have shields. Tom reminded her. We're a science vessel. The plasma cannon fired. A ball of superheated plasma shot toward the Explorer. It would hit in 5 seconds. At that temperature, it would melt through their hull instantly and kill everyone aboard. Elena watched the plasma ball coming. Time seemed to slow down. She thought of her family on Earth. Her work. All the discoveries she'd made. All the discoveries she'd never make now. 3 seconds. But then, something incredible happened. A human warship moved. It moved so fast it was almost a blur. It positioned itself directly between the Explorer and the plasma ball. The warship's shields activated at maximum power. The plasma hit the shields with tremendous force. The shields glowed white-hot, absorbing the energy. For a moment, everyone thought the shields might fail. But they held. The plasma dissipated harmlessly against the blue energy field. On the Explorer, Elena released a breath she didn't know she was holding. Tom, what ship was that? Tom checked his display. The Phantom 7, Captain Blake commanding. She moved her ship into the plasma's path to save us. On the Phantom 7, Commander Blake sat calmly in her chair. Damage report. Shields down to 60%, Commander. No hull damage. We're fine. Good. That was exciting. Blake opened a channel to Admiral Jackson. Admiral, another KRYL vessel just fired on the Explorer. We intercepted. No damage to the science vessel. Admiral Jackson's voice was cold fury. Which ship? KRYL Vessel 12. Captain Vrak commanding. Target that vessel. All nearby ships, fire at will. Disable it. I want that captain alive to face justice. 10 human warships turned their weapons on Vrak's vessel. They fired simultaneously. Not railguns this time, they wanted the ship disabled, not destroyed. Energy beams and missiles hit the KRYL warship from every angle. Explosions rippled across its hull. Engines exploded. The bridge took a direct hit. Within 30 seconds the ship was a drifting wreck, leaking air and fuel. But it was still mostly intact. And inside, some crew members had survived. Send boarding teams, Admiral Jackson ordered. I want Captain Vrak arrested and brought here. He just tried to murder civilians. He'll face a war crimes tribunal. Human soldiers in powered armor flew across space to the damaged KRYL vessel. They cut through the hull and entered the ship. They found Captain Vrock trapped under a fallen beam, badly injured but alive. The human soldiers pulled him free and placed him in restraints. You can't do this. Vrock groaned in pain. I am a KRWL captain. The human soldier looked at him coldly through his helmet visor. You're a war criminal who tried to murder unarmed scientists. You're lucky we're taking you prisoner instead of leaving you to die in space. They carried Vrock to a human prison ship. He would stand trial for his crimes. General Kravik watched all of this in stunned silence. 2 KRWL ships had attacked after surrendering. One was completely destroyed. The other was captured, its captain arrested. The humans had shown that their mercy had limits. Pushed too far and they would respond with overwhelming force. This is my fault, Kravik whispered. I led us here. I brought us into this trap. And now Zex and his entire crew are dead. Vrock is captured. This is all my fault. Vrex put a hand on his shoulder. General, we're alive because you surrendered. If you had ordered us to fight from the beginning, we'd all be dead. You saved us. But Kravik didn't feel like a hero. He felt like a failure. The silence after the second attack was heavy and terrible. No more KRWL ships tried anything. They all remained motionless, weapons offline, waiting to see what would happen next. General Kravik sat in his command chair like a statue. His yellow eyes stared at the main screen, watching the debris from Zex's destroyed ship floating in space. Small pieces of metal. Bodies of KRWL warriors drifting in the darkness. Over 100 dead because one captain couldn't control his pride. General, Subgeneral Vrex said quietly, the humans are hailing us again. Kravik didn't respond at first. What was left to say? 2 of his captains had broken the surrender. 2 of his ships had attacked after laying down their weapons. The humans would be furious. They would probably destroy the entire fleet now. General? Vrex repeated. Put them on screen, Kravik finally said, his voice flat and emotionless. Admiral Jackson's face appeared. Behind him, the human command center was busy with activity. Officers moved between stations. Reports came in. Everything was organized and professional. This was a real military, not the peaceful traitors everyone thought humans were. General Kravik, Admiral Jackson began, and his voice was ice cold. 2 of your captains attacked after surrendering. 1 targeted a medical ship. 1 targeted unarmed scientists. Do you understand how serious this is? Yes, Admiral, Kravik answered quietly. I understand. Those captains violated the rules of war. They dishonored their surrender. In doing so, they brought consequences on themselves. Kravik nodded. I know. Captain Zex is dead. His entire crew is dead. Captain Vrock is your prisoner. I cannot defend their actions. What they did was wrong. Admiral Jackson studied Kravik's face for a long moment. You didn't order those attacks, did you? No, sir. I gave the order to surrender. They disobeyed. That's what I thought. Admiral Jackson's expression softened very slightly. General, I'm going to ask you a question and I want an honest answer. Why did you attack Dr. Martinez's ship in the first place? Kravik was silent. The truth was shameful, but lying seemed pointless now. Because we thought humans were weak, he admitted. We've been watching your ships for months. Science vessels. Trade ships. Unarmed. Always talking about peace and cooperation. We thought you had no military. No defenses. We thought you were easy prey. And now? Admiral Jackson asked. Now I know we were fools, Kravik said, his voice heavy with regret. You weren't weak. You were prepared. You let us think we were the hunters, but we were the prey all along. Admiral Jackson nodded slowly. At least you understand. Some of your captains didn't. They let pride destroy them. On another KRWL ship, Captain Morg listened to the conversation. Morg was an older KRWL, experienced and thoughtful. He had disagreed with this attack from the beginning, but Kravik was his commanding officer, so he had obeyed. Now Morg opened a channel to the human fleet. Human Admiral, this is Captain Morg. May I speak? Admiral Jackson looked surprised but nodded. Go ahead, Captain Morg. Admiral, I want to apologize on behalf of the KRWL warriors who still have honor. What Captains Zex and Vrock did was disgraceful. They broke the surrender. They attacked the defenseless. This is not the KRWL way. This is not what we are supposed to be. Admiral Jackson raised an eyebrow. What are the KRWL supposed to be, Captain? Warriors, yes. Strong, yes. But also honorable. When we give our word, we should keep it. When we surrender, we should accept it with dignity. Morg's voice was filled with shame. Zex and Vrock forgot what it means to be a true warrior. They thought being strong meant never backing down. But real strength is knowing when you're beaten and accepting it with courage. Other KRLL captains began opening channels, adding their voices. Captain Morg speaks truth, said Captain Rel. We brought this on ourselves. The humans showed us mercy and some of us threw that mercy back in their faces. We deserve whatever punishment you give us, added Captain Thon. But please, Admiral, don't judge all KRL by the actions of two fools. Admiral Jackson listened to all of them. Then he looked at General Kravik again. General, here's what's going to happen. Your fleet will be escorted to the edge of human space. You will return to your empire. But before you go, we're going to make some things very clear. Yes, Admiral, Kravik said. Dr. Martinez, would you join us? Admiral Jackson said. Dr. Elena Martinez's face appeared on the screen beside the Admiral. She looked at General Kravik with calm eyes. General, Elena began, you tried to take me and my crew prisoner. You threatened to kill us if we didn't obey. Do you remember that? I remember, Kravik said, unable to meet her eyes. I want you to understand something. My crew are not soldiers. Tom Reed is 26 years old. He studies stars. Sarah Kim is 23. She studies planets. Maya Patel is 30. She has 2 children waiting for her at home. Elena's voice became harder. These are people with families. With dreams. With lives that matter. You were going to take them prisoner or kill them. For what? Because you thought it would be easy? Because you wanted to prove humans are weak? Kravik felt shame burn in his chest. I didn't think of them as real people. I thought of them as targets. As a mission objective. I was wrong. Yes, you were wrong, Elena agreed. But you know what? You're going to get a second chance. Not because you deserve it, but because humans believe in second chances. She leaned closer to her camera. My brother died in a pirate attack 3 years ago. He was a merchant, unarmed, peaceful. The pirates killed him for his cargo. I could have let the human fleet destroy all of you to avenge him and others like him. But I didn't. Do you know why? No, Kravik whispered. Because revenge doesn't bring anyone back. It just creates more death. More families crying. More children without parents. Elena's eyes were wet with tears, but her voice was strong. My brother believed that everyone deserves a chance to be better. So I'm giving you that chance. Admiral Jackson spoke again. General Kravik, you're going to go home. You're going to tell your emperor everything that happened here. And you're going to tell him something else. What, Admiral? Tell him that humanity wants peace. We want trade, friendship, cooperation. But we will defend ourselves. We will protect our people. And if the KRYLL Empire ever attacks another human ship, there will be no mercy next time. No second chances. No warnings. Admiral Jackson's eyes became hard as diamonds. We have 300 ships here. But the KRL Empire doesn't know how many more we have. Maybe this is our entire fleet. Maybe it's only 10%. Maybe humans have 3,000 invisible warships hidden throughout the galaxy. Your empire will have to wonder about that. They'll have to lie awake at night thinking about it. The threat was clear. And terrifying. Because it might be true. I understand, Admiral, Kravik said. I will deliver your message. Good. Now there's one more thing. Admiral Jackson's expression changed slightly. We noticed that your ship took some damage during the disagreement. Several of your vessels have hull breaches and engine problems. Kravik was confused. Why would the humans care about KRL damage? Admiral Jackson continued, we're sending repair ships to assist you. They'll patch your hulls, provide spare parts, and make sure your engines can get you home safely. Kravik's jaw dropped. You're helping us? That's correct. We're not going to send you home in damaged ships that might fail and kill you in deep space. That would be cruel. Subgeneral Vrex spoke up, his voice filled with confusion. Admiral, we tried to capture your people. 2 of our captains attacked you after surrendering. Why would you help us? Dr. Elena answered this time. Because that's what humans do. We value life. Even the lives of people who were our enemies 5 minutes ago. You surrendered. Most of you kept that surrender honorably. We're not going to let you die in space just because a few idiots broke the rules. Within an hour, human repair ships arrived at the damaged KRLL vessels. Human engineers in space suits began welding hull plates, replacing damaged systems and providing fuel and supplies. On Captain Morg's ship, which had taken damage from an engine explosion, a human engineer named Sarah worked to repair the main engine. Captain Morg watched her work with confusion. Why are you helping us? Morg asked. We're your enemies. Sarah looked at him through her helmet visor. Were your enemies? Past tense. You surrendered. You're not fighting anymore. So now you're just people who need help getting home. But humans are supposed to be weak, soft. Everyone in the galaxy says so. Sarah laughed. We are soft. We cry at sad movies. We rescue abandoned animals. We help strangers. But being soft doesn't mean being weak. It means we feel things deeply. We care about life. Even yours. She finished repairing the engine coupling and tested it. There. Your engine should work fine now. You'll make it home safely. Morg felt something strange in his chest. Respect? Gratitude? Thank you, he said quietly. Similar scenes played out across the KRYLL fleet. Human doctors treated wounded KRYLL warriors. Human engineers repaired damaged ships. Human supply officers provided food and water for the journey home. General Kravik watched all of this from his command chair. He felt confused, ashamed, and strangely grateful all at once. I don't understand, he said to Vrex. We tried to hurt them. We attacked them. And now they're saving us. Maybe, Vrex said thoughtfully, that's what makes them dangerous. Not their weapons. Not their ships. But their values. They could destroy us easily, but they choose not to. That choice makes them more frightening than any species that simply kills without thinking. After 3 hours, the repairs were complete. The KRYLL fleet was ready to depart. Admiral Jackson's face appeared one final time on all KRYLL screens. General Kravik, your ships are repaired. You're free to go. We'll escort you to the border of Sector 9, then you're on your own. Thank you, Admiral, Kravik said, and he meant it. Remember what you saw here today, Admiral Jackson said. Remember that humans defended themselves but also showed mercy. Remember that we could have killed you, but we chose to help you instead. Tell your Emperor. Tell your people. Tell the entire galaxy. I will, Admiral. I promise. One more thing, General. Admiral Jackson's voice became very serious. If we ever meet again, I hope it's as friends, not enemies. But if the KRYLL choose to be enemies again, remember this moment. Remember that we showed you mercy once. We won't show it twice. I understand, Admiral. We won't forget. The communication ended. The KRYLL fleet formed up and began moving toward the sector border. The human Phantom fleet followed at a distance, making sure they actually left. On the Explorer, Dr. Elena Martinez stood at her viewing screen, watching the KRYLL ships depart. Tom stood beside her. Captain, do you think they learned their lesson? Tom asked. Elena was quiet for a moment. Some of them did. General Kravik did. Captain Morg did. But not all of them. There will always be fools like Zex and Vrak who let pride control them. Then this might happen again. Maybe, Elena admitted. But now the galaxy knows the truth about humanity. We're not defenseless. We're not weak. And we won't be easy prey anymore. She turned away from the screen. Let's get back to work. We have stars to study. And just like that, the Explorer returned to being a simple science vessel, peacefully exploring the galaxy. But everyone knew the truth now. Behind every peaceful human ship, invisible guardians watched and waited. Ready to protect. Ready to defend. Ready to teach another lesson if necessary. 5 days later, the damaged KRYLL fleet finally arrived at their home world. The planet Krylos was a harsh place with red deserts and dark mountains. Cities of black stone covered the surface, connected by highways where military vehicles moved constantly. This was a warrior culture built on strength and conquest. As the 70 ships approached orbit, something was wrong. Usually, when a military fleet returned home, there were celebrations. Crowds gathered. Families cheered. But today the streets were silent. Everyone had heard rumors about what happened in Sector 9. General Kravik's flagship docked at the main military station. He walked slowly through the corridors toward the command center. Other KRYLL warriors stopped and stared at him. Some looked at him with pity, others with anger. No one spoke to him. In the Imperial Command Center, Emperor Thrax waited. The Emperor was massive even for a KRYLL. He stood over 2 meters tall with dark red skin covered in old battle scars. His yellow eyes burned with intelligence and barely controlled rage. He wore armor made from black metal, decorated with symbols of his conquests. Around him stood the Council of War, 12 high-ranking generals who advised the Emperor on military matters. They all looked at Kravik with cold expressions as he entered the room. General Kravik, Emperor Thrax's voice boomed across the chamber. You left here 5 weeks ago with 70 of my finest warships. 70 ships full of trained warriors. Weapons. Power. You were supposed to scout human territory and report back. He stepped down from his throne, walking closer to Kravik. Instead, you attacked a human science vessel. And you lost. You lost to humans. The traitors. The scientists. The species everyone calls weak. Your Majesty, I can explain, Kravik began. Explain? The Emperor's roar shook the room. You lost 35 ships. Over 9,000 warriors dead. Captain Zex and his entire crew destroyed. Captain Vrak captured and imprisoned. And you come crawling back here with your remaining ships damaged and your tail between your legs. Kravik bowed his head. Your Majesty, the humans? The humans what? They were too strong? Too smart? Too prepared? The Emperor was breathing heavily with rage. Tell me, General, how exactly did you lose to one human ship? It wasn't one ship, Your Majesty. Kravik's voice was quiet but steady. It was a trap. A very well-planned trap. General Vorks, one of the War Council members, sneered. A trap? You're saying you walked into a trap? What kind of commander are you? The kind who underestimated his enemy, Kravik admitted. And I will carry that shame for the rest of my life. But Your Majesty, the Council needs to see what really happened. I brought full recordings of the battle. Emperor Thrax returned to his throne. Show me. Show us all how the mighty KRYL Empire was defeated by humans. Kravik activated a holographic projector in the center of the room. Three-dimensional images appeared in the air, showing everything that had happened. The Council watched in silence. They saw the Explorer floating alone. They saw the KRYL fleet surround it, 70 warships against one science vessel. They saw General Kravik's threats. Then they saw what happened next. 300 human warships appearing from nothing, materializing from empty space. The Council members leaned forward, eyes wide with shock. Impossible, whispered General Mora. Our scanners are the best in the galaxy. Nothing can hide from them. The humans can, Kravik said. They call it stealth technology. Ships that become completely invisible to all scanners. They followed the Explorer for 3 months. 3 months. We never detected them. Not once. The hologram continued. It showed Admiral Jackson's appearance. His cold warnings. The demonstration shot that lit up space with terrible power. Then it showed the 2 attacks after surrender. Captain Zex firing on the medical ship. The human railgun response. Zex's ship being torn apart in one shot. Several council members gasped. Emperor Thrax's expression changed from anger to something else. Fear? Concern? It was hard to tell. One shot, General Vorks whispered. They destroyed a battle cruiser with a single shot. The hologram showed Captain Vrak's attack on the Explorer. The human warship moving to block. 10 ships firing simultaneously, disabling Vrak's vessel in seconds. When the recording ended, the council chamber was silent for a long moment. Finally, Emperor Thrax spoke. His voice was quieter now, thoughtful instead of angry. General Kravik, explain the human technology to me. These stealth ships. These weapons. How advanced are they? Kravik straightened. Your Majesty, I've commanded fleets for 20 years. I've fought in 15 major battles. I've never seen anything like human technology. Their stealth systems are years beyond ours. Their shields absorbed our best weapons without even flickering. Their weapons. He paused, remembering. Their weapons are precise and devastating. They can target specific systems on a ship and destroy only those systems. Or they can destroy an entire ship with one shot. They have control we've never achieved. General Thon, another council member, asked, how many ships do they have? You saw 300. Is that their entire fleet? I don't know, Kravik admitted. And that's what makes them terrifying. Maybe 300 is all they have. Maybe it's only a small portion. Admiral Jackson made sure we would wonder about that. Emperor Thrax stood and paced. This changes everything. For 3 years we've thought humans were weak. Easy targets. Now we know they've been building a secret military fleet while we laughed at them. It's worse than that, Your Majesty, Kravik said. Worse? How could it be worse? Because they didn't have to build these ships in response to our attacks. The technology is too advanced. The ships are too well made. They've been working on this for at least 5 years, maybe longer? The council murmured in confusion. General Mora asked, why would they build a secret military if no one was attacking them 5 years ago? Kravik looked at them all. Because humans think ahead. They prepare for dangers before those dangers arrive. They looked at the galaxy and said, we're peaceful now, but someday someone might attack us. We should be ready. Emperor Thrax sat back down heavily. Strategic thinking. Long-term planning. These are not the actions of a weak species. No, Your Majesty. The humans are not weak. They're patient. They're smart. And they're much more dangerous than we ever imagined. Subgeneral Vrex, who had accompanied Kravik, stepped forward. Your Majesty, there's something else you should know. Something that might be even more important than their weapons. What? After the battle, after 2 of our captains broke the surrender and attacked, the humans could have destroyed us all. We were helpless. Defenseless. They could have killed 3,000 Kaerwelo warriors and no one could have blamed them. Vrex's voice became softer. Instead, they sent repair ships. They fixed our damaged vessels. They gave us supplies. They provided medical care for our wounded. Human engineers worked for hours repairing our ships so we could get home safely. The council stared at him in disbelief. They helped us. General Vork sounded shocked. After we attacked them? After our captains violated the surrender?